give a thumbs up. I'm glad those of you got there safe and sound. All right.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So this is the convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. It is January 24th, 2024. And it's our public meeting for agenda setting purposes, number 161. We're going to get started with our minutes. Commissioner Maynard, I know that there was
Madam Chair, did you want to do a roll call?
oh, sorry.
Yep.
I'm a little bit off. I just reported to colleagues that I did a turnaround because of traffic today. I live about 20 minutes away from downtown Boston, and about an hour and a half later, I realized I needed to turn around to get to our meeting. So thank you for the virtual option. I did think about that, Eileen, Commissioner O'Brien. I said, well, you know, I can do this virtually, and we are very fortunate we have that flexibility. So the roll call, Commissioner O'Brien.
I am here.
Thanks. Commissioner Hill.
I am also here.
Commissioner Skinner.
Morning.
Good morning, and Commissioner Maynard.
I'm here.
Great. All right, now we'll get started properly with public meeting number 161. And Commissioner Maynard, my apologies. I realized that the minutes that did get to us somehow didn't get distributed until just a little bit earlier this morning. So I just want to let you know that they are, I think now are in the packet, Trudy, but our apologies. So there may be a request.
No problem. I'll make the motion, and if somebody needs more time, they can let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I move.
Can I save you the trouble? I'm going to need more time. Sorry.
Okay.
They came through when I was in another meeting, so I didn't have a chance to look at them.
We can roll them over to the next meeting or to the end of the meeting. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, Commissioner Skinner.
I'd prefer the next meeting so that I don't have to try to multitask here.
Perfect. I withdraw my motion.
Thank you. And so we'll have, I know that there are 2 sets ready for the next meeting. My apologies, Commissioner Maynard. Okay, we'll get started then with our agenda planning. Commissioners, you have this meeting scheduled through March 14th now. As you'll see, that immediately following today's agenda setting meeting, we do have a special short public meeting regarding the IEB screening committee's update and advancement of finalists. So that will follow this at 11:30. Okay. Turning to February 1st, administrative update. Good morning again, Interim Executive Director Grossman.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners, and hello, everybody. I do have a couple of ideas for administrative updates for the upcoming meeting. Burke Kane and his team have some interesting end-of-year stats that they are prepared to share with the Commission and discuss, including things like the intercept numbers, if that's of interest, and maybe get into a little bit about that program as well. We thought that might be of interest to the group. And so they can do that on the February 1st meeting. A couple of other things that I just wanted to mention and we can be prepared to talk about as well. We do have an onboarding group that's been assembled by our Chief People and Diversity Officer, Dave Muldrew. And I thought it might be interesting to just discuss that with the Commission, let you know what's going on with that and what the plan is moving forward. If there's interest in that subject. And then the other one that's come up, and I've gotten a few questions about, are our non-disclosure agreements that we have with our casino licensees. So if that would be helpful, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about those with at an administrative update as well. I certainly don't think all of these need to be on February 1st, but I think each of those are subjects that I thought might be of interest to the Commission. So I'm happy to move forward as helpful on those, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Okay, any questions for Todd, Commissioners? Okay. Got some meeting minutes planned, quite a few. How's that look, Commissioner Maynard?
It's looking good. It's totally sitting with me. The legal team finished their part. I'm finishing my part. Judy did a great job, and they'll be ready.
Okay. We'll get those out early, Trudy. As soon as we get them, let's distribute them because there's so many. I think they're also going to be lengthy too. Thank you, Judy.
I should be able to get those out to you, Chair, today.
Oh, okay. When I was saying to Trudy, when she gets them, we'll immediately send them all around to the commissioners. Okay. Legislative update, Commissioner Hill.
So I'd like to keep it on because I believe we're going to be seeing the budget that's been presented by the governor. And at that time, we will have been able to go through it. And if there's anything that affects us, I'll give you an update on it. So yes, if we could just keep it on there, just in case. Thank you.
Okay. And just a note that letter, Todd, did go into the mail.
It has not gone out yet. There were a couple of edits that need to be made to it based upon the discussion. It was actually in the State House News yesterday, the actual letter itself. So it's been more broadly circulated than we had even hoped, but we will get the actual letter out hopefully today or tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner.
this is just directed to Todd. Could commissioners have an opportunity to see it again after the edits have been made, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Actually, why don't we just do that, right? Can we, that's sort of administrative. Could we just talk? I'm trying to imagine what edits they are because Commissioner Skinner, I think time is of the essence, given that it's actually out. I thought that it had been mailed. You know, in terms of the edits, they're not substantive, are they, Todd?
Well,
Well, it
that,
was removing one
I know you're
paragraph.
directing this to Todd. I don't remember that there were any edits needing to be made, so that's why I asked to look
Yeah,
at.
it's-
The only edit was removing the one paragraph where we didn't have unanimity. Other than
Okay.
that, I thought it was ready to go.
Well, we also needed to send it to the Economic Development Committee, so we needed to get
I
their
can-
names on.
I can
the
send
list.
that right over to you. Those are the, they're on their annual report, their titles. Maybe Mills, you could send that over to Todd, incorporate that into the letter. We just recognize that there were another set of officials that should be included. The technology and emerging.
Yeah, and
And
the
the appointing
appointing
authorities.
authorities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that needs to be done is all those other folks need to be added onto the letter.
Right. So,
Yeah, in that case, I don't need to see it again. Thank you.
okay, excellent, Commissioner Skinner. Just time being a little bit of the essence here. And also, I didn't think we had any substantive ones. Good.
No, there's nothing substantive.
Yeah, but certainly Commissioner O'Brien's right, taking out the one that we didn't have 100% consensus.
Just to be clear, that paragraph had already been removed. I was asking to put it back in.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. In some form. Yeah. Okay. Then it just would be adding those two titles and putting our signatures on and getting it right out. I think Tom, he could send it in the USPS and then also send it electronically, right? With the attachment to all of those individuals. And I think Tom has all the email addresses for those State House. Tom, am I assigning knowledge that you may not have? Mills?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair. I thought you were saying Todd, not Tom.
Tom.
Yeah, no, I can get that for sure.
Yeah, he'll help you, Todd, so you can get it right out. Okay, thanks. I think actually Mills can send it to under his copy, but probably doing it electronically and in the snail mail is a good idea. USPS. Okay, thanks. Regulations. I've got one, Todd, is that right? Or do you have more?
This is good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. I can jump in there for you.
Carrie.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, we will be all set for 257, the data privacy regs on the 1st. That's the only one that we'll have coming on the 1st.
Okay, and can you remind us of the status of that? What we're,
This would be coming back for initial review of changes. So you'd be seeing some changes for the first time.
okay, thanks. All right, now we have sports wagering. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Madam Chair. Crystal here today. Crystal, you want to start?
Oh, there's Crystal. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, so are you specifically asking for February 1st, right? Sorry, I
Yeah,
got slightly
February 1st,
distracted.
Page
Okay.
3 of the document.
So we had previously asked to bring back the item on the WinBet request, which has now become more of a general overview of the customer service and phone requirements. And I can get you that language. And we also had previously asked for addition of a new event request, the Women's Professional Hockey League, which I think we had said Andrew would be bringing forward, but I actually will be bringing forward. So that's a little bit of a change. And then Andrew, are any of the new ones that you have for February 1st?
Yep. So we have 2 new market requests from Fanatics as well. New head coach and new player team, wagering on where the player may play next season and which coach will coach next season. Both those requests come from Fanatics.
Andrew, I'm sorry, I got head coach and missed the next one.
Player, new team. So you can, they're asking to wager on if a player will play for a certain team next season or where a coach will coach next season.
Oh, okay, so 2 new markets, and that's both Fanatics.
Correct.
Okay.
And we do have one other item. We're going to bring forth a cessation for one of our operators. You've received that information, and that pertains to 205 CMR 258. So we intend to have the formal plan, and that may include some waiver requests. We're still looking into exactly what will pertain for that meeting, but I think between us and legal, we'll get you some more information and agenda language.
So that will be a joint legal sports wagering. Okay.
I believe so. That's all I have. Andrew, am I missing anything?
That's it for 2-1. We'll be back for 2:15.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we're ready to pivot to item number 6, Madam Chair, and I can kind of jump in there.
Right, and I know Kathleen too is going to add
Yeah.
some parameters, so thank you. IEB and sports wagering, thanks.
So if we're ready to move on to item number 6, that deals with alleged non-compliance matters. Before we get into that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process, if I may. Of course, as you're all aware and familiar with, we've talked about the handling of Category 1 or Group 1 matters. And in fact, you'll recall, of course, the Commission essentially approved, although we need to bring back a draft of the handling of Category 1 matters relative to sports wagering non-compliance issues. So item number 6 gets into what we had referred to as Category 2 and Category 3s and how those would be handled and whatnot. And so, of course, if it's not a Category 1, what that means is that the matter has to be brought before the Commission for review. And so what we wanted to talk about with the Commission was the idea of essentially streamlining the information that comes before the Commission. And that's important for a couple of reasons. First is the idea that we want to ensure when we bring these matters to the Commission that we don't engage in any kind of adjudicatory bias by sharing too much information at the early outset of a particular matter where it hasn't been investigated. It has not really been thoroughly vetted by the IEB, and it's oftentimes really just an allegation. Sometimes it's brought to us by the operators themselves, but ordinarily these are matters that have not been investigated in any material way, which means that we want to just be really careful about the information we're sharing at this juncture. So the idea is that we would, in the IEB specifically, would streamline the the breadth and scope of the information that is shared at this juncture in public with the commission. The idea being, of course, that the commission would still make a decision based upon the information as to how it wanted to proceed from there, whether it wanted a full IEB investigation, move into an adjudicatory proceeding. Of course, as Caitlin discussed the other day, assessing essentially a fine at that point based upon the information you have before you. So it's the same process, but we're really just talking about streamlining the information that would come before the commission. So that is just an area that we wanted to raise now. And Kathleen, I'm certainly invite you to jump in if you'd like to add any more color or context to what I've said.
Yeah, I think it's important for Kathleen to add in because I know she and Caitlin have been coordinating. Caitlin's happily, I believe, at Disney World, if I'm right. So,
yes, she's out this week.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, I'm hopefully she has some warmer weather than we have up here. Happy to jump in. I did speak to Caitlin briefly last week, and she had floated this idea of perhaps, as Todd just indicated, changing the procedure in which the matters come to the commission for the first review for further decisions by the commission as to how to proceed. I think what was being suggested was, as Todd indicated, a brief overview of what the event entails. I think that would be less information perhaps than the IEB has been doing in the past, and holding off on sending any sort of written, 2 to 3 page memorandum until the commission decides how they want to proceed with the matter. And if the matter goes to an adjudicatory hearing, certainly the IEB could submit a briefing for the commission to have, or if the commission wanted to send it back to the IEB for further investigation. I think all of the same options that are available to the commission would be the same. It would just be changing the procedure in which the matters first came to the commission, is my understanding from conversations.
Commissioners, do you have questions for either Kathleen or Todd on this? It's just going to be a more streamlined, truncated process for us to make our decision, just so that we don't creep into an area where we've unfairly talked about the facts without really the other side being represented. Okay.
I have a question, Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Skinner. Yeah.
Is this up for discussion, or is this a decision that's being made? I mean, or will this be coming to us to discuss on February 1st?
I think that this is a decision from our legal and IEB team to protect us from, there's not another option. We don't want to do something that creates adjudicatory bias. So I think we're hearing from our legal team. Todd is speaking with a couple hats on from a legal perspective, and Kathleen with Caitlin. Caitlin did bring this up to me briefly, as much as what I just heard from Kathleen and Todd, and it's to protect us. So I wouldn't encourage that this becomes an option, Commissioner Skinner. If we need further information as to why and to understand adjudicatory bias, I think our legal team could provide that.
Yeah, I'm happy to get that.
Memo. Yeah,
I'm happy to get that outside of this meeting. I mean, there was another option, obviously, because we have been following a different process up till now. So I'm just interested in a little bit more as to, why we're shifting, right?
Well,
totally respect that it's the advice now that's coming out of legal.
Yeah,
I just want to have the sort of the backstory, if you will.
I think that the trigger, and Todd alluded to it, is these matters, as they've been self-reported, presented a little bit of a different analysis than if they are not. And it occurred to this whole team because they're doing great work and thinking, thinking for always to make sure we are having best practices in place, that they are recommending this approach. So is that fair, Todd?
I think that's fair. And, ultimately it's really kind of the same process. It's really just that the breadth of information that we will be bringing in public to the commission will be a little more limited. That's really all we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so obviously I realize, you haven't had a chance to think about this, but that is, if everyone's comfortable with it, we can kind of move forward with that. for the upcoming ones. And Kathleen, I apologize, I didn't ask whether you feel like the ones that are on this agenda, we would be prepared to move forward in this fashion with, is that?
Yes, I think so. I think the thought process would be starting next week at the February 1st meeting. There were 3 matters that the IEB has been reviewing that were referred to us by sports wagering that would be bringing to the commission. And I think that the thought process here would be that would be the implementation of this new process would be to give the commission a brief overview of those events, and then for the commission to then determine how they wish to proceed with the 3 separate matters.
And yeah, the three separate matters, fanatics, that MGM. Okay.
There's
Fanatics
one
is
with
the
fanatics.
Yeah, the second one that we've alluded to in our earlier meetings, right? Kathleen?
Yes, there's the second. Zach presented last week on a matter, and as you said, Sharon made reference to a second matter that is similar of nature, and then there are 2 separate matters, both involving Bet MGM.
So
Questions?
I'm sorry.
Go right ahead, Todd.
I was just going to say, if everyone is inclined, we could just give it a try next on February 1st with this approach, and kind of see how it goes. But I think that this is the proposed approach, just to ensure the integrity of the process.
And in between, I think Commissioner Skinner is going to reach out to you, Todd, and Kathleen to understand those risks around adjudicatory bias. It's not something we bring up often, but we may not always truly understand what the trigger is. So other commissioners could do the same. Okay. All right. Item number 7. Right now, we are still scheduled to have the Attorney General report to us on February 1st with respect to DFS and their view on their regulatory authority and responsibilities with respect to DFS, and then also their commitment to approaching and the same issues that we're interested in, which is to create a level playing field for our licensed operators versus the illegal market. So we expect to have the Attorney General's office in on February 1st. Right now, we are anticipating an executive session. We'll see as to that issue. So stay tuned on that. Okay. Then we have the mission statement, Commissioner O'Brien and Commissioner Maynard.
Yeah, we distributed it to the 3 of you at the last meeting, with the idea being now would be enough time to get comments and potentially vote to adopt.
Trudy, can you redistribute that so it's at the top of our email boxes, so that we'll be all fresh on that statement, and then we'll move hopefully to make that adoption. Okay. Okay. We've got you, Mark, on the rest of the items for right now for February 1st. Your favorite. I know you've been thinking about this presentation and a little bit with some concern as to how to approach. You all set for number 9?
Yeah, we are all set for number 9. I'm working on it right now, but yes, we'll be ready.
How long do you think that will go, Mark?
Could we give it 25 minutes?
Yeah. And the only reason why I'm asking now is because I've got sort of a sense for the others, and the Attorney General's office has a think. I want to make sure that we can work within their window. All right. And then number 10, Play My Way report, which I'm looking forward to.
Yes, that we are also will be ready for. In fact, just as you were talking right there, our draft slide deck came into my inbox from Dr. Michael Wall. So that will be, if you could put Dr. Michael Wall as an outside presenter on that. In coordinating with him, he was hoping to be able to present this sometime between 1 and 3 p.m. for his commitments earlier in the morning.
1 and 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Correct.
Okay. Right. That's helpful. And Mark, I am going to ask for you and your team to just send the exact language that you want for the agenda with all the presenters so that I get it right. And
Great.
Trudy and I get it right together.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking now at item number 11, Long.
Good
Good
morning, Chair.
morning.
Hi. Yes, so we're prepared. Game Sense quarterly report will be ready. I will forward Trudy the presenters at the Mass Council, and we will have the presentation ready.
Right. That's always a good one. So we'll just figure out Dr. Wall's schedule around your presentations and figure out the Attorney General's office. Okay, and then you've got this legal and RG combined effort. So Carrie and Mark.
Yes, we'll be all set for that as well.
Mark.
Yes, I concur with Carrie.
Okay, so do we have a sense as to how long that will be?
It's a relatively short presentation that I would say would probably be around 10 minutes with maybe another 10 minutes of discussion. Carrie, Bonnie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think 20 minutes sounds good.
There's Dr. Andrews is nodding her head. Does that sound good? Okay, and you're all set on the other items too, right, Bonnie?
Yes, thanks.
All right. I just want to make sure Mark is estimating the correct time. So we'll go, we have February 1st, we're all set. Other items from the team that they would like to present on this busy day.
I do have one other item for the first, Madam Chair, based on the conversation and vote last week on 205 CMR 221, the sports wagering license fee regulation. We would just be bringing back the waiver as you had discussed last Thursday, waiver from the one section that we would be removing.
So that's from the January 18th, right?
Right.
Okay. Other items for the team? Todd, can I just go back to your administrative report? I want to make sure I have 2 items. Did you have a third one?
Yeah, there are 3, and as we pivot into February 15th, we can actually spread them out a little bit. But yeah, so the one for February 1st is the end of year statistics from Burke and the gaming team. The second one was the onboarding group program that we're putting together. And the third are non-disclosure agreements.
Oh, that's what
in that whole process. Perhaps that one could go on to the 15th.
Okay. I'm sorry. I couldn't read my own handwriting, so I need to go back. So either we'll check out how we're doing, Todd, with respect to timing. Because that actually is pretty substantive in nature, you know, to give us that update.
It certainly can be, and just as a reminder, I'll actually be out next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so I think it'd be actually helpful to me if we could do the NDA presentation
for the 15th
following meeting. Yeah.
Oh, okay, even better. So Todd, do you want to say why you're going to be out?
I'm celebrating a special birthday. I tell people I'm turning 70, but I'm going out of town with my family to celebrate, which is something we rarely, if ever, do. So excited about that.
Yeah, but it's a big birthday, so we'll miss you, but we'll be celebrating with you. Okay, February 15th then, administrative update. We'll have the non-disclosure. Anything else right now?
Not at the moment.
Okay, and then minutes, we'll figure that out, Commissioner Maynard, in terms of the actual dates.
Yes, I don't want to get ahead of Judy on this. She may get me.
Yeah, I apologize. I normally have the dates like locked and loaded, but we are well into May 2023, so I think they'll be from those dates.
Yeah,
Trudy, I'll get you those as soon as possible.
Great, thank you, Judy. Okay, Commissioner Hill, legislative update. We'll keep on, okay? And regulations. Anything anticipated, Carrie?
Yes, we will be prepared to bring 25604 related to advertising restrictions for discussion. And we would anticipate including in that discussion some relevant sections as well from 238 and 247. But I expect it will be a large discussion about what exists and possible changes, and then potentially coming back for a vote if there are edits made during the meeting.
And this is the one we've had under review on number 12, right, Carrie?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so we'd be bringing number 12 up. That is going to be a big discussion. So, okay, then we have Chief Delaney, there you are. Quarterly reports.
Actually, did you have anything on sports wagering?
Oh, I skipped that.
Sorry.
My apologies. Thank you. Sports wagering, Andrew, Crystal?
Yeah, we anticipate one item for the 15th, a new league request, the United Football League. Two of our approved Massachusetts football leagues, the XFL and the USFL, have merged in December. I think it was New Year's Eve they made the announcement. One of our operators, FanDuel, has requested the United Football League to be approved for wagering. I expect that by the 15th. If not, we can always move it.
United Football League, that made news, okay. My apologies for skipping over 5. Crystal, do you have something else?
I don't. I don't know if we wanted to address, we do have a meeting in between that for those executive sessions, but also I'm not sure if we've decided on the quarterly reports meeting yet, but those are my only outstanding items. So for the 15th at this time, I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, so I didn't want to jump the gun, but I think that we have on our calendars, commissioners, for February 9th, Crystal, the executive sessions that would
February, I think it's the 7th,
So
Yeah,
February
there's a
7th.
hold.
We have an agenda setting in the morning, and then that afternoon, we found the number of hours that Crystal felt would be most appropriate for us to hear from the operators. Remember, they've offered to give us information about their strategies and tactics to address KYC and proxy wagering. I believe, Todd, we have the green light to use the executive session, but you'll confirm all of that with Crystal. And so that's what you'll see on the calendar. Should we continue? Should we plan on that, commissioners? Okay. All right. So that's an additional standalone public meeting. And then I think we have under review the your quarterly reports, Crystal. But if you have, I can't remember if you and Trudy have selected dates for that or not.
I don't believe so. We wanted to have the executive sessions first, so we can now finalize those dates.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks. So anything else though for now for February 15th on sports wagering?
I don't think so.
Not at this time. Okay, great. We'll move on now to Joe.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. So Encore and PPC are all set for the 15th. I did get a request from MGM to if we could defer theirs to the next commission meeting. They would like their new president to be available for that, and he is not available on the 15th. So I think the next available meeting would be on the 29th. So if we could move that one to the 29th, that would be appreciated by MGM, sir.
Okay. All set, commissioners, on that. I'm not hearing any objection. Okay. All right. Item number 7. Thanks, Joe. And then we'll make sure to reserve the executive sessions for your capital expenditures reports and the
Yes.
ILEV?
Yep.
The ILEV as well, and Todd will confirm that that's all. Okay, all right. Item number 7, good morning, Derek, and I'm not sure if John's on, but we're talking procurement.
I think John is on, but his computer may have been updating. So we should be ready for the procurement discussion. I don't know if you will want to have that second discussion until after you've gotten an overview of 801 CMR 21 and the process we follow for all types of procurements. So I know last time we talked, you said it may be 2 sessions, so we can keep them both on, and if we get into the delegated levels, that's great. If the commission needs some time to absorb the information and then consider delegated levels, we can do it across 2 meetings.
Should we just plan on it? The 2 meetings, maybe, Derek?
I think that's the cleanest, but I know that sometimes after 2x2s, maybe people have a better, clearer understanding of the information and they just want to move forward. But we will do 2x2s on the PowerPoint that we're going to present as well as the information.
Okay. So for February 29th, I'll reserve on that time for the threshold issue.
Okay.
For the delegation of authority. And then maybe what you could have, and this will be for the future, as we've talked about this over the last several years, that your experience with other agencies on that issue, if you gave a couple of concrete examples, that's always helpful, Derek.
Absolutely.
Okay. Item number 8. This is, I've been working with IEB on this. It came out of a request from Detective Lieutenant Leo to have executive sessions to just bring us up to date on really screening issues at the casinos that we've addressed in the past. This would just be an internal meeting with, I think, Mike and at the lead and Caitlin. Is that correct, Kathleen? Are you updated on this?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah. So it would just not with the operators at this juncture. I think Mike wants to give an update as to how things are going and then see if there are any questions from the commissioners.
Yes, I believe that's correct, but I'll confirm with him and touch base with him and Caitlin as well.
Okay. And then back to you, Derek, I put your number 9 ahead of number 10 because I think you made a good point that you'd like to go over that before we talk to about that related ISA.
Correct. So Judy, did you want to jump in first? Because I see your hand raised, so I didn't know.
No, go ahead. I can just
Okay.
wrap up at the end of the meeting when we summarize.
My
right.
Thank you,
apologies.
though.
Judy, I'm looking at the notes and not at my screen. My apologies. I missed you. Thanks, Derek.
No problem. Yeah, so we should be ready for that. The AGO will be one of the discussion topics that we bring up. Their request for funding through the ISA. We'll also bring up the RSM review. We'll give an update on where sports wagering is with the additional money that was provided to them at the beginning of the year and how much of that is remaining. And I think there was one more I wanted to touch on. Oh, we'll be working with Todd and the legal team to see how A&K spending on the sports wagering side will do compared to our estimates at the beginning of the year. I think they're well under, but that will be one of the areas that we had brought up at the last quarterly update that we would follow up on. And if there's anything else that the commission wants us to take a dive into, we'll do that as well.
Okay. And will there be a vote for that at that juncture?
I think there will be, just because we'll have to increase, please reserve it. I think we'll have to do it just for the RSM item as well as the AGO item, because those 2 items combined may be a little bit of money. And if we do not have total savings, and if the sports wagering team is going to use up some of the money on the sports wagering side, the $750,000 that we had set aside, we won't have enough to not increase that budget. in
Hey,
reversions
Commissioners.
and savings.
Commissioners, any questions for Derek on this?
We'll have a 2x2 on that too, because it seems like there'll be a lot of moving pieces. So you'll be seeing a lot of us before that meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anything else for February 15th from the team?
Madam Chair, if we
Yes.
could, if it's possible for timing, we have a couple sets of executive session minutes that we'd like to bring forward for approval and review.
So we'd have to have an executive session to review executive session minutes.
Correct.
And are those executive session minutes that Commissioner Maynard was present for, or this going?
I think these ones are slated to go to Commissioner Hill, given the date on them. They're from early 2023. So, but the good news is that they're pretty short. I know that's you guys have a lot of reading to do with minutes, but I'll be gentle, I promise.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Judy. And I missed your use of our hands. Raised hand.
There was
Anything else?
just the ISA matter, item number 10. Derek alluded to it, but just confirmed that the AG's office is ready to discuss that at that time window that's set out there, if that still works. I think it's, if this is going on the agenda, it's actually interdepartmental service agreement is the nomenclature there, but that's ready to go.
We're planning on having the AG's office set the stage so that all commissioners are aware of what the Attorney General's office is, steps it's taking and anticipates taking in connection with the ISA. So hopefully the February 1st meeting will be helpful. Anything else for February 15th? Okay, moving on then to February 29th, and we've got the MGM Springfield's quarterly report, possible delegation threshold setting discussion with Derek's lead. Anything else that we anticipate for February 29th? Okay, well, we have a agenda setting in between, so I'm sure things will develop. Our next agenda setting meeting is February 7th. Okay. All right, under review. Am I right that we're going to keep it under review?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner O'Brien, under review?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Skinner and Chief Delaney on the HCA compliance?
Yeah, that's ongoing.
Okay. Is it ongoing or just still under review?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're still working on, working with our licensees and reviewing items and so on, so.
What is our outcome that we're looking for here, Commissioner Skinner? What's the plan? Do you know? All right,
Yeah, I'm gonna kick it to Joe to answer that. I can't remember how. I think when this came out of the diversity audits that we're conducting of the casino licensees, we didn't want to end there. I think it was necessary to review all of our licensees and all of the areas that we're responsible for overseeing, I guess, in terms of is it the section 61 findings, Joe? Right.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, essentially, these are all requirements of our licensees to comply with, and we're reviewing the compliance with that. And ultimately, what will come out of it is a report that shows, areas where they are in compliance and areas where they may not be in compliance.
So you are imagining a report that will actually outline that?
Yeah.
Joe,
I mean, I think just probably a memo to the commission, and then once it goes to the commission and you all have a chance to review that, then we'll decide how we want to proceed with that. with respect to, with the licensees.
Thank you. Okay. I'll turn back to, I guess it is more with Andrew than with Crystal, if my notes are correct.
It's both of ours, but that can be left under review, please.
Andrew, I'm sorry, right when you spoke, I got a little notification.
Yeah, that's both of ours kind of, but that can be left under review, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Then we have the two screening committees, the executive director.
Of course, now I'm getting alerts. I think Commissioner Maynard, I don't know if we put it on for an update on the meeting on the 1st.
I think we'll be ready for an update on the 1st.
Yeah.
So for your update on the 1st, will you be able to give us kind of a timeline so that we can anticipate when this gets wrapped up?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
We're close. I'll go ahead and say it right now. We're close.
Mm-hmm.
Say pray. Okay, doke. That would be helpful. And so I'll put that on for February 1st. Add that. Okay, and then Commissioners Skinner and Commissioner Hill, you actually have something happening today.
We do. So for that reason, we can take this off of under review. We held our last meeting this morning to take care of the business of meeting minutes. So we are prepared to hand this over to the full commission at this point.
Well, that's excellent. So cross it off the list and then we'll have our next meeting at 11:30. Okay, excellent. I'm going to turn to Tom and Dave on the annual report.
Thanks, Chair. Actually, I have a copy of it sitting on my desk right now. We received this from our vendor the other day, and David and I went through and made some comments on it. And I know Dave's going to be working with the vendor to make those updates, and it should be ready for the commission by the time of your next public meeting.
So it would be, so for February 1st, Dave and Tom, would it be fair that you would be able to distribute it in advance of February 1st, or should we say it gets distributed February 1st for the February 15th meeting? How do you want to proceed on that?
I'll hand that over to Dave since he's been more communicative with the vendor. But I think we're in a pretty good place, right, Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to be meeting with Jack Rabbit tomorrow to go over our final edits. And so it just depends on when those could get turned around. I think it's probably best to err on the side of caution and get distribution for the 1st for the February 15th meeting. But if they're able to turn it around quicker, we could always try to move up that calendar.
It's a fulsome report. It's our annual report. I think it's good to give it the commissioners all the time to look at it and review it. But as I understand it, it's going to have the photos in it and the language. So commissioners, you'll have a chance, good couple of weeks to review. And that also gives the team a chance to make any corrections too, right, Dave?
Absolutely. That I was just going to say the final edits that Dave meant are the ones that Dave and I came up with, and obviously there'll be time for more edits from the team, if need be.
Of course.
Okay, so distribution February 1st. We'll just note that, whether you distribute it a couple of days before February 1st doesn't matter, Dave, but that will just say that it's been distributed. And then on 15th, it will be subject to discussion on changes and edits.
But yeah, it looks good. So we're excited. We're close.
Great. And I have to, we should acknowledge here, even though I'm sure she's listening to our public agenda setting meeting, but Grace was very instrumental, as you all know, getting the draft done. Had the pleasure of visiting with her at her home over the weekend. And she is just a wonderful mom to this new baby. And she's also looking forward to working with all of you again, and is very comfortable with her arrangement. So falling into place nicely for that.
Yeah,
family.
Chair, that's a fine point because I wouldn't be able to say that we are close if it weren't for Grace's work on this.
Yeah. Well, and it's a great exercise for both of you. You're getting acquainted with it. And I know Crystal was so instrumental in helping on the template, as well as past, lots of past contributors to the process. So thanks. But anyway, we'll make sure to give Grace a hard copy for her souvenirs when she comes back. Okay. That's good news. All right. Okay. Good morning, Dr. Lightbound. How are you, Alex?
Good morning. Good, thank you.
Okay, so your item, how are we there? Still under review or?
Yes, please, if you could still keep it under review.
Okay. And anything that you're, is it just a matter of timing or resources or anything? You're just working on it? Because I know it's not an uncomplicated issue.
Yes, Judy's still working on it. She's on if she wants to comment, but she's still working on a few items, so.
Okay. I wasn't sure, Judy, if you were involved, so I'm just glad that Alex is getting all of your help. That's great.
It rests with me. I'm doing a little bit more research and I've reached out to the social law library on just one component, and then I'll be able to hopefully bring it out and schedule it for a public meeting. I just want to be sure of our recommendations before presenting it publicly.
And for those who are not lawyers, the big library, legal library, is actually called the social library because that's how lawyers do. We think of
we spend all our
libraries.
time hanging out with the books.
Libraries as social vehicles. So, okay. Well, thank you. And then we've got number 10. Going to cross that off the list, Crystal. And then we're back to Joe.
Yeah, let's keep that under review. Just a quick update. MIPA did finish their process and issued their final decision on the project, which I forwarded to all the commissioners last week. We are meeting at the end of this week with MIPA and MassDOT, and A&K is going to sit in as well to talk about the development of our Section 61 findings for this project. So we will start kicking off that process because once the MIPA process finishes, then we have to do our work with Section 61 findings. So, and I am going to reach out again to Encore to see if we have an update from them on when they anticipate submitting to actually, make the modifications to their license and so on.
Okay. We're lucky, Joe, that how familiar you are with all of those processes. It's not lost on us, so thank you. All right, item number 13. Well, my office chair just presented me with a nice new cup of coffees. Here. There we go. Thanks.
I think this is still under review because I think I just asked to add this at the last meeting.
Yeah, I know that we've got a few regs to look at to Commissioner O'Brien. And I want to make sure that we don't lose track of these developments. I think I've got a couple ones that are, that we're lucky because we can hear from other regulators and learn. And in addition to Commissioner O'Brien's promo bonus that we saw develop out of Ohio and would like to learn from it. Ohio too is looking at mandating the multifactorial authentication. Right now, ours is discretionary. I think some operators do employ that as an option. I don't know if any of them mandate it, but I'd like to add that to kind of this reg list, Carrie and team. I think we have that in our email boxes too on Ohio's announcement. And then another one that came up during our meetings, commissioners, you'll probably remember Bruce is not here today, but I feel like I'm not misquoting him because I think both he and I were in agreement that when we all struggled on that DraftKings voiding issue. Remember that question, and it was a lot. It was a very involved meeting. For some of us, I think our reg. I think I publicly said I wonder if we should revisit the regulation. I felt maybe that it didn't have as much wiggle room as maybe I felt we needed at the time. I think I'm not going to assign anybody else's feelings, but I did feel like we should maybe revisit it. And since then, and maybe at the time, Andrew and Crystal, we knew this, New Jersey that we turn to for frequently, and they do require that there's no option to void for mistake. So
Yeah.
do you agree?
We knew that at the time. That's, I would like
did.
to revisit it because I think Commissioner Maynard flagged this to me in one of the meeting minutes at the time that it was, I made my interpretation of it clear at the time we adopted the reg, which was more in alignment with New Jersey.
Right.
And so it's probably time for us to go back and revisit to see where we
Right.
want to land on that.
Right. And I agree with you, Commissioner O'Brien. I think New Jersey, it was made clear. I don't think we had necessarily their exact language in front of us. So I think it merits us going back and looking and seeing where we are as a commission on that item. Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Skinner, Commissioner Maynard, do you agree? So those are three regs, again, kind of cheating because we're turning to other regulators, but that's the beauty of having colleagues across the nation who are thinking about these tough issues as well. Okay, so we'll add those two other ones to 13, voiding, and we may learn more about the multifactorial authentication too when we have our meetings that Crystal's arranged for February 7th. We'll have to be careful what we share publicly if it's given to us in a confidential fashion. All right, then we're to your quarterly reports, Crystal.
All right, I hit mute and my entire computer Windows option opened. So I actually think that this one was related to the quarterly financial reports. That had been on our radar for a while, and I'm not seeing it here now, but that would still be under review. We are working with the financial investigations team and have received a great list of everything they'd like to have, and now we just have to work on the operators as to what they can and cannot provide. So probably
14,
early March.
14, how should I better describe that, Crystal, for Trudy and the planning?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's regarding the confidentiality component of the quarterly financial reports. They're
I'm not sure
from the PowerPoints.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you were on last the agenda setting, but I think Todd and I took that language off.
You did, okay.
Because we didn't know.
I did hear you guys talking about it, but I wasn't sure if it was something that was coming in Todd's administrative update or if this was on hold forever. I know that it's something we've included in the letter and stuff going forward. So then we could just take this off because it's our quarterly reports. We'll just work with Trudy. We don't really have to have that on hold, but I thought that's what that related to.
Yeah,
sort of a different question.
I actually was thinking it was the quarterly reports that you're going to schedule. So
sure, technically coming.
I'll let you and Todd figure out if we need to, be more affirmative for agenda setting on your topic. But
I think it would be, it's going to be a bit because there's lots in the works anyway. So we can just take in general that whole topic off.
Okay, great. Thank you. Then we have the general population survey. Is Mark on?
Sorry. I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah, let's keep that under review and figure out a plan for that. But it's still under review. It's we're working on it.
Nicely done, Mark. Jumped right in there. Thank you. Okay, and Dr. Andrews, you'll be all set too. Thank you. And then Mark, before you leave, we have also the evaluation of game sense.
Correct. And Ani, we have the GameSense evaluation has it's 4 evaluations in one, and there's certain pieces of it that are done and rolled up or very close to that. So we need to figure out how to break that up or present it as one larger evaluation for the commission. But I want to talk with Bonnie and Dr. Wall about that.
Perfect.
But it is on track. We're excited to share that.
Okay. Other items for under review. One thing that's going to be on our calendar that you referenced earlier, Todd and Kathleen, is the adjudicatory, or maybe we didn't reference it today, but the adjudicatory hearing for PPC. Do we have that date now? Not that we always put that on these agenda setting, but that's the beginning of our licensing review. Justin's turning on his, do we just have it for planning purposes, our date?
The 5th.
We have it on for the 5th currently, Madam Chair.
Okay, thanks. Okay. And then just to add under review, I spoke with Todd and we felt that it's just for purposes of important collaborations that we are hoping that DPH will repeat for us a presentation it did for the GPAC on their approach, in terms of their work with problem gambling. Be really helpful for all the commissioners to hear that report. Some may have tuned in for that. I think Commissioner Maynard, if I remember, you were there for that GPAC meeting, but I believe that there's been even further evolution of their department's work. So to the extent that they're able to give us some time, we're hoping that there'll be a presentation. Okay. Anything else? All right. Commissioners, do you have anything that you want to add to the agenda? Our team's keeping us plenty busy. Commissioner O'Brien, anything?
No, the only other thing that should go in, and I think the response we got back, we don't need a reg change for this, is the idea of the seal on the legal entities.
Could you say, I missed one
So
more.
I had talked about, we'd all like the idea of putting some sort of graphic
seal.
on.
Yes, I'm
Right,
sorry.
and I think the response we got back from legal was that at least one interpretation is they already have language that's based on the reg. So having it be a seal versus wording, we don't necessarily need a reg change. But if we could have that sort of under review marked up pretty soon, so that we can get confirmation of the reg interpretation and then movement on a design and a process.
On a design. I'm sorry. I just couldn't hear the word seal. I thought, and
Yeah.
so yes, it was on my mind, and actually, for purposes of the minutes, I did note, I was going to make a suggestion, Commissioner Maynard, that on page 2, this would be for you and Ying, to the extent that we could add for number 10, Commissioner O'Brien, it says my name, but really the seal, I was looking for confirmation and I was looking at Commissioner O'Brien. And so, Ying, if you could just add for number 10, recognition of Commissioner O'Brien too, that would be great. It's on for January 4th, the January 4th meeting, page 2, number 10. Okay. So thanks for that reminder, Commissioner. But right now we won't have a marked up date, but I think it would be good to get that too moving along sooner than later, because I do think it's really helpful for the bettors to have that. And I know Mills is continuing to make sure our website reflects that. And I think Dave also sent something out right before playoffs, right, Tom? that reminded the public as to our licensed operators in Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always trying to make sure that folks know who is licensed in Massachusetts, and we'll continue to update that as that landscape changes.
Okay, excellent. Anything else, commissioners? Okay, we've got a few minutes before the next meeting. I need a motion to adjourn if we're all set.
So moved.
Thanks.
Second.
Thanks. Okay, Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard,
Aye.
and I vote yes, 5-0. Thanks, everyone.